So he was nice enough to ask me to come down and sing on it. And as you mentioned, Key West, they filmed the sequence in the film in Key West, I believe. But it's a song that, I remember the first time I played that song in front of people. I didn't, really know the song's, appeal or power till the first time I played it in a show. And people just went crazy, the crowd really was kind of like the fist pumping moment of the show. There weren't that many, and but I remember thinking, wow, I didn't expect that reaction.
You that was a good question. You talked about songwriting, and back in the day, as you recall, like when you and I got together, it was just the two of us writing a song, although we did enlist Kenny Loggins at some point. But, two people on a song was pretty normal, right? I was producing a band called The Tubes. Do you remember The Tubes?
Oh, sure.
And we had a hit song that I co-wrote called She's a Beauty, which was their only top 10 hit. And the contract came for the songwriting thing to turn the songwriting thing in, and there's 11 people on the song. 11. It was written by me and Steve Lukather from Toto and Fee Waybill, the singer. But they put the whole band on that's just the way we do things, whatever we write. So the drummer, you guys weren't even there. It's like,
That's a new age of songwriting. There's at least 6 people on the song.
But now it's even worse.
Yeah. Well, now if somebody walks into the room and empties an ashtray and leaves, you gotta know they're gonna be on the song.
Write a word in for a
As a
third.
composer, yeah.
Write a word in for a third.
Yeah, sure.
Which leads me, I wanted to ask you this question. What was your experience like writing with Burt Bacharach, the great Burt Bacharach? On My Own was the song. Maybe there was others, but
it was a wonderful experience for me because I was Burt, like Ray Charles. He was as a composer to me what Ray Charles was to me as a singer and a performer and a piano player. Because Burt's composing to me was so sophisticated for pop music. It broke a lot of rules. He would make a 6/4 bar feel totally natural. And people would just sing along in their car like it was no big deal. But that was for those of you that might not know, that was like a no-no in pop music. Don't do anything fancy that might trip people up because they'll turn off their radio. So I admired. I was just a huge fan of Burt Bacharach. So getting a chance to write with him. However, we never wrote anything. But something that was interesting to me was Burt had such a formal training as background that to him, what I ascertained anyway, in writing with him was that melody was something that he saw more than heard. Like me, melody is just something I hear in my head and I pick it out and I put it on a cassette tape somewhere. Where with Burt, we got together and I played him this idea. He goes, I like that. He goes, let me. He said, I'll tell you what, we're done for the day. Let me write this out, and then we'll get together tomorrow. And I remember thinking, oh, okay, I just got here, but so I left and I came back next day and he had a big piece of score paper and he had written the melody out. And I noticed that anything we talked about with the melody, it was, as he looked at it, he saw melody. It had to do certain things. It had to move a certain way for him to understand its value or whether or not he liked it.
Somehow you managed to, because I was around him during that time too and doing little stuff with him, but nothing that ever hit like On My Own. But he has a very strong personality. Somehow you managed to just take just enough from him that it still could be a top 40 hit, because he was at that point not really writing top 40 hits anymore, right?
Right. Well, and another thing that I marveled about with Burt was his demos. His demos sounded just like the records that came out later with Dionne Warwick. They were full production, orchestra, everything, and it was
not synthesizer.
And it was a male singer at the time that did all those songs that Dionne did later.
I think On My Own is one of the great songs.
I mean, Full disclosure, I didn't write that either. I just sang on that with him.
Oh, you weren't in on that song?
No, I was not a writer on that. That was Bert and Carol Sager. Yeah,
That's right.
And you were at the session when I sang. When I did my vocal, yeah.
Why was I there?
You
Because
came-
I was playing keyboards on the song.
No, you just came by to say hi to them. And you
I don't remember you being there.
Hey, well,
Sorry.
this goes to show you. But yeah, no, you came in the studio. It was over at I forget where, Westlake.
Yeah, like that place down in LA. Well, it doesn't matter because they're not going to carry on.
Yeah, you came from
Conway.
dinner. Conway, that's right. And you hung out, and I was doing the vocal, and you know.
I don't remember that now. That was you?
Yeah, it was me.
Audience question.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for what you've done for us.
Hey, is there any chance we can get a mic in the audience? Because I like the idea of going to the audience. But go ahead.
Your talent, it has just influenced our lives so
Oh, well,
much.
thank you. You were really nice to say that.
Well,
Thank you.
it's made our lives so much better. What was it like to work with Donald Fagen and or Steely Dan?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a wonderful time in my life, you know, personally, and certainly, the way I got that gig was a mutual friend of ours, Jeff Piccaro. Jeff and I, who was just this wonderful guy, and obviously a great drummer, one of the best drummers ever. But Jeff is someone, I heard about him when he was like 18 or younger, 16. I was on a session somewhere at A&M Studios, and one of the guys on the session, one of the older players, was saying, you know, I just played a session with this kid, and I think he referred to him as Joe Piccaro's kid, because Joe was a session drummer in LA. And he said, he's something else, man. He's got all the instincts of a guy, you know, in his 30s. He's 16 years old. His drums sound great. He plays great. He's going to really be, he's going to be the next A-list kind of guy in town, you know. And I remember, you know, it caught my ear, but I never thought about it. The next time I met Jeff, I played a casual with him. I had been left with the task, with the job of putting together a band for a Christmas party at Universal Studios for the cast and crew of Emergency. I don't know if you remember the show. My girlfriend was a bass player at the time, and she got an audition in Las Vegas at the Harry James Orchestra. But it was a long-term kind of gig that she couldn't really pass down. And this gig was originally given to her to contract, and she said, I need you to do me a favor and get a band together and get all the gear you need and do this gig. I said, sure, no, I'll do it, you know. And it was a big paying gig for us at that time, you know, so I promised her I would she said, and don't do what you usually do and wait till the last minute. You know? So you can imagine what happened next. About a week out, I have no PA, no band. It was me and the sax player sitting at my kitchen table with me, with my head in my hands going, she's gonna kill me, you know. And he goes, hey man, he goes, look, we were just sitting around, you know, fretting about how the hell we could possibly pull this off. And he goes, I'll tell you what, I know some cats. They play sessions usually, but they love to come out and play. You know, just do some top 40 gigs. We'll just jam on some stuff. Everybody knows the same songs, and we'll, just write out some chord charts in the key you want to sing them in, and these guys will be good. You know, I'll see if they're available. And he did, and I remember saying to him, well, if they're session players, I don't know if I have enough to pay them. You know. He goes, no, man, they'll do it for free. They just like to get out and play, you know. I said, well, God, that's too good to be true, you know. But I said, if you can pull this off for me, I'll be forever indebted, you know. So he did. He got these guys to do it, and it was Jeff and Mike Piccaro. David Page came down and sat in on some keyboards. I'm trying to remember who played. It was Jeff on drums.
It was basically Toto.
It was basically Toto before Toto existed, yeah. And these guys, I think at the time, were playing on the Sunny and Cher show, during the day, and also recording an album called Pretzel Logic during the day, during that period. And so I remember on our break hearing Jeff talk about the stories of the sessions with Pretzel Logic, thinking, God, what a lucky guy, why can't I get a gig like that, And cut to the chase, about a year later, I get a phone call. My girlfriend says, Jeff Porcaro is looking for you. He wants you to call him. Here's his number. And I said, okay. So I called him. He goes, Ben, what are you doing? He goes, I said, well, I'm just nothing really, playing some gigs. And he goes, would you want to come down and audition for Steely Dan? Or we're going to finally go on this tour. This was a year after they cut the album, and they had not toured yet, And so I said, well, yeah. What day? He goes, I mean right now. And so I threw my Wurlitzer in my Ford Pinto and I drove down to Universal. And some guys came out and helped me carry my piano in, which is something I was not used to. And we set the piano up and I started to learn some songs of theirs. And somewhere about 3 or 4 hours into this, I thought to myself, I think I might have the gig. I don't know. No one said anything, but they haven't told me to go home, So I finished out the day with them and told the report the next day. And from that point on, I started rehearsing with the band, and we toured the U.S. and Europe together for the better part of a year. And I thought, at the time, that was my favorite band in the world. I hadn't liked a band that much since the Beatles, and I was just in seventh heaven. And of course, none of us made a lot of money. Even Donald Walter didn't make a lot of money back then. But we did these gigs and we played these great shows all around Europe and London and the U.S. And came home, and then the band broke up. And I remember talking to Timothy Smith once. He goes, that's what always happens. You get the gig you've been waiting for your whole life, and then the bastards they break up. They get in a fight and break up. And I said, well, I guess that's pretty true to form. But I stayed in touch with Donald and Walter over the years, sang on a lot of their records, and I actually got the chance to play with them again one last time, shortly before Walter passed. And it was just such a wonderful experience to be on stage. The same guys I was 19 years old playing with. And I still, it was like the inner child in me. Every time Donald looked at me, I tense up, because I thought, I'm getting canned, But,
It's kind of interesting because you're probably not, and this is not meant to be a dig, but you're probably not as accurate a musician as they like to have.
Not at all.
Right?
No.
And when I say that with a great amount of affection and love, because he's so unique, and studio musicians are just like, I remember playing on the song Peg.
Yeah.
For Steven, and it was like, we just played the take over and over and over. Like, oh, you're a little ahead there, you're rushing. They like perfection, right?
Yeah.
And that's not, perfection, thankfully, is not your middle name.
No, in fact, to this day, I don't remember exactly what Donald was trying to tell me. He would play the chord progression for me. He goes, it has to, you need to play it like this. And I thought I was playing it like that every time, but apparently not. So yeah, there was
But the voice is what they.
Well, that was it.
leaned
I
into.
could sing the high parts with my full voice, so they.
And you still can sing those high parts.
Not as well.
We're just about wrapped up here. Here's one for you. Ray Charles or Marvin Gaye? It's a one-word answer.
Oh.
It's a one-word answer.
Marvin.
Well, that's a tough one.
Two, three,
but there's
four,
reasons
five,
for.
7,
I'd say
8,
this.
9.
I would have to say
10.
Ray Charles for
Okay.
me
Okay.
personally.
All right.
For reasons other than what both of them did well, because Marvin Gaye is certainly one of my favorite singers.
Yeah.
And,
I know you did one of his
every-
songs last night, right? Which was great. What's going on, right?
What's going on?
Oh.
Well, yeah, I just thought that was an appropriate
Love it.
song for today.
Celine Dion or Mariah Carey?
Who? Still, Celine Dion
Or Mariah Carey?
both great singers.
Pick.
Gosh, you know, it's,
Don't feel bad for me.
it's
Don't
all,
bite the hand that feeds you.
yeah, no, I mean, and that's a tough one, really, because they're both so phenomenal, you know, really, you know. And that's why I said who, because I'm thinking, you're not asking me to choose between these.
Yeah. It's like your favorite child, I guess.
Yeah, no, it really is. And with most of the singers we all love, you know, it's tough to pick one because they all do something a little different.
Okay, well, we're gonna get one more audience question, then I'm gonna ask you one more question like that, and I want an answer.
Okay.
Okay? I don't want this favorite child bullshit, okay? Right there.
Okay, I loved your book. I loved you and you, but I'm sure it's had to be here, definitely on my bucket list. The question is, are you going to make a movie out of your book?
I don't know.
Wow, good catch. Are you gonna make a movie out of your book?
No, I don't think so. You know, when I was writing the book, I kept saying to Paul the whole time, you know, no one went to prison and no one died in this. How good of a story is it really? You know, yeah, no. My oldest son wants to wants me to do a movie about it. But I don't know that it's a movie material. But thank you for that. I appreciate it.
What is
Your encouragement there.
what is left for you at this age now and accomplished so much? Is there obviously people like us and probably most of our audience? They're very sophisticated. We keep moving the goalpost as we get older, and like, oh, that's not going to work. We got there, and then oh, we got there. Now we got it there. Where's the goalpost for you now? Is it right in front of you, or is it still way out there?
That's a good question because I swing wildly now at this age.
I heard that.
Between
Ladies, all the single ladies.
that's not what I meant. But I mean, in terms of renegotiating what comes
Yourself.
next. Yeah. Sometimes retirement sounds so good. You know, it sounds like I could stay.
Retired.
Well, I don't think I could, because if the pandemic taught me anything, I'm no good at retirement. I turned into the blob on the couch. I thought, I would get all this exercise that I don't usually have time for in, and all the things I like to do that I don't have time for. I did none of them. The most physical movement I think I got was my gums receding. That was about it. So I just, I'm afraid of retirement for that reason, but at the same time, sometimes it sounds really good.
Do you have any interest in your catalog becoming a jukebox musical on Broadway? I mean, what a fool believes. What a great title for a Broadway musical.
That would be interesting. I would, it depends on what the storyline was, I guess. I think anything that would keep me active, because I think I need to be active. I'm one of those people that, probably retirement wouldn't agree with me. I know people that thrive in retirement. I'm suspicious that I'm not one of them,
No, you're not. In fact, I told this story to Michael last night, but Michael Lazaroff, I don't know if he's here or not, but he's a beautiful man that puts all this together for us, and he's amazing. Thank you, Michael. But when he was asking me if I would do the David Foster host the cruise, I said, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know how to do that. And he said, well, I could get Mike McDonald. And I said, you're lying. You cannot get Mike McDonald to come on a boat. And he's been on the boat for 3 days. He's not that guy that just came in and out. Of course, that's hard to do in the middle of the ocean. But the guy's been here, and we're so looking forward to your show tonight.
Me too.
What time is it? We're supposed to be done in 45 minutes. It's already 2:22. God, I have to have lunch and a nap. What about you?
That's usually on my agenda these days.
Two last questions, okay? I looked on ChatGPT to see what they would like to ask you. It's a lame question in a way, but it's such a fascinating question. It's a common question, but what would you tell your 21-year-old self?
My 21-year-old self. Practice.
Really?
Yeah, I would tell myself to practice. Back then, I think for me, growing up, they didn't have names for this stuff when we were kids in the 50s and early 60s. but I was very ADD, you know, I still am, you know, and that has manifested itself in my life with certain acute conditions like procrastination, you know, and
I find that hard
and
to believe
attention
that
span for sure.
you
And
procrastinate. But
so, you know, practice for me is a grueling, difficult. I'd rather pull my own teeth out than practice. And not because I don't enjoy practicing, but I just can't do it. I might drift off the same way I did in civics class.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, and I can't seem to stop myself. I can't go. Okay, now pay attention. I can say that to myself, but 5 seconds later, and when we're talking, and anything to do with details that you're telling me, no matter how hard I try, in about 3 seconds, I'm not even hearing you. You know.
I'm David.
Yeah, nice to meet you. You know, Q&A is more my style. You know, because I have to pay attention. But you know, honestly, that has always plagued me, and I regret now at my age not having practiced more because.
Or maybe attended to that affliction.
Yeah.
More, right? Paid more attention to that, and like you said, nobody knew back then what it was. It was.
No, right. Yeah, I find that as I get older, those things get a little more acute. They plague you a little more than they did even as a kid because you're busy. I was busy working, so I didn't really think I needed to practice. I would rationalize it that way, you know.
Well, I can tell you that somehow, I mean, you're the top 0.1% of people that your voice is still as good as it was when I met you 50 years ago. I don't know how. It's like Tony Bennett and McDonald. I don't know who else. I mean, God, I went to see, I won't mention his name, but I went to see, you know, this famous singer like recently. It was unbelievable. He couldn't sing at all. You know, and by the age of 70,
you know, I mean, you know, oddly enough, the voice is something you renegotiate with. Speaking of that, as you get older, you know.
Yeah.
I don't try to do this thing.
But you don't take care of your voice, you said, right?
I sleep, I rest. I don't stay out all night.
But you don't do exercises.
I only in really severe situations. I have an exercise that I do when I'm really hurting. My voice is really just not there to bring it back just enough to get through the night, you know. And it's not nothing fancy. It's just really finding the lowest 2 notes I can possibly hit and pivoting back and forth. And I don't dare try to sing high when I'm backstage because I'm only going to hurt myself, you know. So I just wait till I got the band behind me and.
Smoking band, by the way, there.
Yes, yeah.
So, how many people are going to the show tonight? I'm telling you, it's like a religious experience. We are so lucky to have you. My final question, and it's a one-word answer, and I want an answer, okay? You ready?
Okay, all right.
I want an answer.
Okay.
2027.
Whitney or Aretha?
Fuck off, Dave.
Thank you very much. Micheal McDonald.